Let's go over the supply and demand graphs. So there are 3 vocabulary terms that I want you to know for the supply and demand graphs. First one is surplus. That's this green line right here. Surplus. Quantity demanded is less than the quantity supplied. So if you guys look right here, this is our demand. So say this is 100. And so right here would be about 50. So right here would be maybe 70. So our quantity demanded right here is about 70. Our quantity supplied, if we supply right here, say that this is maybe 200, so maybe we're supplying right here 150. So if our price is up here, so say this is $1, and so $2 would be up here. And so maybe this would be $1.50. So if the cost of our donut is $1.50, the quantity demanded, because this is the blue line is our demand line, is approximately 70. There's 70 people that want to buy a donut for $1.50. And the supplier at this price point would want to make approximately 150 donuts. Okay, so they made 150 donuts, 70 of them sold. That means we have left over 80 donuts. We have a surplus of donuts. Okay. So the next vocab term I want you guys to know is equilibrium. Quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied, and that is right here. So if we sell our donuts for $1 and the quantity supplied is 100 and our quantity demanded is 100, every single person who wanted to buy a donut got to buy a donut, and the people who made the donuts don't have any left over. So quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied. That's our equilibrium. This is our equilibrium point. Shortage. The quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supplied. That is this red line right here, and it's anything that's in here. This is all a shortage. So say right here, our price is approximately 70 cents. So at this price, our suppliers are only wanting to supply 70 donuts because this is our supply line right here. So for 70 cents, our supplier wants to sell 70 donuts. But our demand, which is over here because this is our demand line, is approximately 140. So 140 donuts are demanded, but only 70 were made. So that means we are short 70 donuts. So there were 70 people that would have bought a donut for 70 cents if we had a donut for them to buy. But we don't. We're short. We have a shortage. Things that shift the demand curve. These are things that affect the consumer. So consumer expectations, this is how did we expect the product to be? Did it meet our expectations? So if you go to the dollar store and you buy a product and it breaks and you're super upset, you're like, I'm never buying that product ever again. So there would be a decrease in demand because it didn't meet your expectations. However, if that product was significantly better than you thought it was going to be, then you're like, hey, I'll buy this product again. So there is an increase in demand. Increase shifts to the right, decrease shifts to the left. Consumer tastes or preferences. This is saying that there's a news article that comes out and it says orange juice is very good for you. And so people say, hey, I think I might buy some orange juice because it's super good for me. So there's an increase in demand for orange juice. Increase to the right, that's where our new demand line would be. Income, say that you get a raise. And so now you have more money available to do things that you want. So now you can go to Starbucks every single day of the week instead of just one day of the week. So your demand for Starbucks would now increase. Price of related goods. This is your substitutes and your complements. So a substitute is something that you could buy instead. Your complement is something that you buy with it, like your Xbox and your Xbox games, or your printer and your printer ink. You can't use one without the other. Substitutes, so say my favorite kind of donut is for some reason $2, but there is another donut that I kind of like that I could buy instead that's only 50 cents. I am most likely going to end up buying the cheaper donut because it's a substitute. I'm going to be just as happy-ish with the other donut. So what would happen to my demand line? For the expensive donut, it's going to decrease. Less people are going to want it because there's a substitute out there that's available that I could buy instead. Number of consumers. Say that you have one factory and you're producing a product and you decide there's enough demand that you can open a second factory. So now you can reach more consumers. So there will be an increase in demand because you have increased the number of consumers for your product. Things that shift the supply curve. I want you to think of businesses, things that affect the person who's going to be producing the product. So producer expectations. This is like your pizza place for the Super Bowl. So they expect more people to buy pizza on the day of the Super Bowl. So they have more ingredients prepped, more dough prepped. So they're going to increase the amount that they're supplying. Increase is to the right, decrease is to the left. Government policies. So this could be something like the government decides to decrease the number of used cars, and so the government buys up used cars and destroys them. So in terms of our used car market, used cars. Okay, so since the government decided that they're going to get rid of some of the used cars, they're going to destroy them, there is a decrease in the number of used cars that are out there. There's a decrease in our supply, which if you notice, if they destroy some of the used cars, what happens to our new equilibrium point? Compared to our old equilibrium point, there is an increase in price. There's a decrease in quantity. Technology. These are things, say that you have a new machine that will make the product faster. I can now supply more. So increase in supply, which would then make our equilibrium point right here. So our new equilibrium price